Welcome to the Lights, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Hi everyone, welcome back for another edition of Lights, Camera, Rant, episode 10. I would like to do a small shout that I can't believe that I've reached episode 10 now. It doesn't seem like a short while ago. I was recording episode 1 and I thought, how am I going to do this? What are we going to do? How am I going to structure it? And, from that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the guest episodes, which both Maddie, Mark, Dean, Perry have all been fantastic guests, and they will definitely be coming on more episodes with other people or as well. Their schedule will come on, which I can't wait to do those episodes with those people as well. Small surprise. I can't believe we reached double digits now. Now the next big goal is to hit that 100 mark. Try and get 100 episodes. Let's see, 100 episodes, like episode a week, do a couple of bonus episodes. So ideally we'll hit episode 100 at the end of December, right? Yep. I can't wait to keep this going for as long as I can. Like this, as I said, my very first intro and episode 1. This is my passion. I'm just still stoked the fact that we've reached episode 10, and I'd like to thank everyone who's helped me this far, who's been a guest episode, and all the support so far. We've now got, thanks to wonderful Madeline, who's created jumpers. She's created cap they can wear at tennis, to get that merch out there, represent. Also mugs. So everyone listening, whoever wants one, let me know, and I'll drop you a link. Shoot me a link, and I'll tell you where to go buy so you can represent. Start with that, and it's so far so good. And thank you for everyone who tunes in every week to listen to my voice rant on and talk shit. As well as everyone else who comes on as well. I just want to take the time out and just do an appreciation post for episode 10 and everyone who's helped out so far. But we've got merch going, which is fantastic. More to come. And let us know if you want some. Episode 10, we're going to be talking about Black Widow, Batgirl, Hawkeye, Suicide Squad, Prep, Ghostbusters, and video game news. So in this past week, the hot topic. Now, funny thing is, I briefly touched on this as it might happen in my previous episodes. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney over a breach of her contract due to the fact that in her contract she was going to get a portion of the box office. As for what I understand, the leading actor in most movies, they get a portion of either merchandising or the box office returns. Funny enough, two people who did a really smart idea in their contract. First person being Jack Nicholson. He didn't get a massive pay for his role for playing the Joker in the first Batman, but he did a smart thing and asked for a percentage of the merchandise. Boom. He still gets royalties today every time someone buys a Jack Nicholson Joker or anything merchant material for that movie. So he's still going to get money until he drops off this earth. Another interesting fact is actually George Lucas. Because the fact that when he went to go create, obviously, the very first Star Wars, and Fox having no faith in him, gave him all the rights. So all the merchandising rights as well. So he, funny enough, for them not having any faith in it, I think it was just going to go and blow up. That's how he made all his fucking money, how much money he made, because the fact that he kept the merchandising rights. And everywhere you look, there's Star Wars print on something. It doesn't matter. Either coasters, posters, toys, cars, anything and everything. So he did get a very nice payout when he did sell Star Wars to Disney. So Disney did the right thing in buying that from him, which is an argument for another day. Sequel trilogy disaster. Anyway, so yeah, Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney over this because she feels like the fact that, obviously, as I mentioned in my last episode, is that with films being released on a streaming service, obviously that cut goes directly to whoever owns the streaming service, which Warner Brothers for HBO Max or Disney Plus. So she doesn't get any cut of that. So I could imagine you'd be pretty flippant and annoyed the fact that you see a post, you're scrolling through your social media, and you see the fact someone puts the statistics of Black Widow, and it says you got $60 million on streaming service. Like, $60 million, and I get nothing of that. I get no cut. Like, I guess you'd be pretty pissed, in that situation, depending how you want to take it. Look, she still would have got a very nice paycheck for Black Widow. For me or you, probably be quite humbling. Be like, yeah, we'll take that. But I guess you've got boat. You want that extra money because you need to get your bigger boat, or you need to get your bigger house, or anything like that. I don't know Scarlett Johansson personally, but I don't take her that type of person. But look, I don't expect her to pop up in anything Marvel right now or for the foreseeable future. Because over this, it's just, the thing is that it's going to get messy before it gets worse. If it was me, if I was Disney, and how much money I make, I would just give her paycheck and be done with it. I'm like, here you go. Here's a portion from Disney Plus. Obviously the contract that she signed for Black Widow was created before the pandemic. So Disney never envisioned this would happen. They probably thought, we will obviously make the money. Actually, no, we'll make no money. Our viewers will go up when Black Widow gets released on streaming service. And obviously gets to streaming service. So the fact that it's, I wouldn't call it doing a dodgy. Like it's like this is the argument I was making, is the fact that there's dual releasing for people who don't want to go out in public and go to theaters, is a great idea. I don't think if you personally if you're not vaccinated or you don't want to go in a group environment like that for long periods of time, yet you still want to watch, an upcoming movie, you should still have that right. You should still be allowed to. And if someone offers that service, jump on it. That's fantastic. And which, at the end of the day, I think that's a great idea to do for those type of people. Which, in turn, if Disney was planning to do that, which obviously they have, they should have given Scarlett Johansson a cut, or just at least said anything, going, look, going to streaming service, we'll give you 1% of all profits, depending how it goes. Because obviously the box office is going to be greater than the streaming service due to the fact that we're technically on the other side of this pandemic. So obviously more people are going, as opposed to if they release this movie in its original term a year ago or early this year. So that's the problem. It's going to get a lot messier. It's going to get a lot messier before it gets better. And, does it open more doors? Because apparently Emma Watson's considering about suing because of Cruella, because that also, got the dual release. So I think, it's going to be interesting how Disney responds, or what HBO Max is thinking about as well, because these arguments, like this whole argument thing, has been going on for majority of 2021. Like, this all started with, go back to Wonder Woman. Both Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot, I probably butchered her name, both came up, both were in that argument because they didn't want, Wonder Woman 2 to be dual released. Funny enough, Black Widow, hands down, is so much better, so much greater, a lot better content than Wonder Woman 2. Like it's not a hate crime. It's just for the quality of what the standard of superheroes movies are made now. It didn't hit. To me, it didn't reach that bar. It didn't go anywhere. Like as I said, Black Widow, at a whole, I think it's a solid action flick. I put it up there with John Wick or the Bourne Ultimatum, just like as a spy thriller, just a basic spy thriller movie. And that first 20 minutes of that movie, like the first intro, as I said, like there is no way if you chuck that onto the regular viewer, you wouldn't think that's an MCU movie. So I think they did well. I think they did well in that. And look, I do understand people's comments. The fact that Black Widow, it's a filler. It's just a filler movie. I think it's a nice wholesome filler movie. She finally gets her moment in the sun. She finally gets her movie. She swings the fence just as high as the rest of the big boys. It's just unfortunate that her movie came out when it did in this pandemic era. And Scarlett Johansson, technically she has every right to go against Disney. I just feel like there's probably a better way she could have done it without a lawsuit. Because a lawsuit can get messy, and it can get messy. And the fact that like if I was an MC movie and like, I don't know, it's just me, obviously not a big time actor. If someone told me like, oh, here's your movie, you're going to get pushed to the box office, you've worked really hard on this, and it's also going to go to streaming services for families that don't want to go out and see it. But like, all right, I'll accept that. Obviously, the fact that we live in the pandemic era, I'll take that on. Hopefully, my next movie that I make is 100% straight at the box office, so I can take all that sweet dollars. That would be me accepting the fact that we live in the pandemic era. Like it's what we're experiencing right now is not the norm, and we have to accept that things aren't going to be normal for a long time. So we can't expect the normal outcome of getting a massive box office massive box office solely at the movies. Like, as I said, I understand what HBO and Disney are doing. But in the saying that, there's another argument that could be made. Would Black Widow make more money at the box office if it wasn't dual releasing? Yes, of course it would have. But at the same time, I think it's a testament to the fact that, how much money it's made right now. Of course, the majority of that money is coming to the fact that it's the first MCU movie since November, Spider-Man Far From Home. So, look, apparently what I've been reading is that Kevin Feige's annoyed. Not so much, he's annoyed, embarrassment, because like I would be too. If I was Kevin Feige, and because apparently he fought for the fact that Black Widow was just released at theaters, but obviously Disney owns Marvel. There's only so much you can push until someone higher up goes, look, no, we've got to do this, and you go, all right, I tried. So, and obviously he's a big he's it's funny. Everything I've read about Kevin Feige and every interview, he's just a fanboy. Like this is his dream. But he wants everyone to be happy. He wants to make great content. He wants to do the absolute best product that he can bring out this world that he's helped create. Which, as a fan, like you can see that when you see him in every interview, he is like a fanboy at heart. And there's nothing you can say. He's a corporate dude. You can't say he's not He's not, just a rich dick or anything. Like, he's just a big fanboy that wants to do his absolute best to bring out the best product in this universe. Which I think you need someone at the helm of something like this. To do any shared universe, you need someone like that. And, I feel like if someone like Kevin Feige was put in charge for the DCU, it would be a complete course correction. That's the thing. It would be complete course correction. If they did that from the start, originally, if you look back, we all thought that, Zack Snyder was going to be that, he was going to be that architect, but it didn't turn out very well, did it? But in argument's sake, the Snyder cut of the Justice League movie is argued to be one of the best superhero movies ever made. It's right up there with The Dark Knight. It's a hard situation. Kevin Feige apparently is embarrassed, and he wants to what's best for his clientele or best for the actors. So he's technically stuck in a rock and a hard place, because Scarlett Johansson's probably going to him like, "What are you going to do?" And he's like, "What am I going to do? What can I do?" And I feel bad for him. And apparently Disney's put a statement out saying that Scarlett Johansson's being greedy in this pandemic era, and apparently her lawyers put a post out. Look, to sum up the whole thing, it's going to get worse than it's going to get better. And it's a real darn shame, because, it'd be great if Scarlett Johansson came back in some form of fashion, either a flashback or, the What If series, or, as a hologram that, she mysteriously made before her death. Anything like that. It's going to be a darn shame that she's going to be, blacklisted, really. And I really hope this doesn't get too messy. I hope this doesn't, make things awkward at the MCU, because it's a delicate situation that I hope that Disney can work something out with Scarlett Johansson, and they can work something out between a nice settlement for her to still pop up if she wants to in the MCU. Here's your money, and we don't look at Black Widow and go, "Oh, remember that lawsuit? Oh yeah, that's right." Like, you don't want that memory with your movie. If it was me, as I said, if I'd been in absolute team movies up this whole time, I finally got my final blow at big screen, I want to make sure the fact that it's a solid memory and nothing bad. Especially if I knew I was dying in that movie, or if I died previously and this was just like a prequel movie, I would want that to be a great memory, especially if it was my last outing as a character, or to me, I knew it was last time. Like look at Logan. That's probably a good example. Logan with Hugh Jackman. He swung at the fence for that movie, and that is one of my high recommendation movies that people should go see. If you're not a comic book fan, comic book enthusiast, or a superhero movie, there's a lot of detachment with Logan from the superhero genre. That it's almost like it's like a last hurrah, Western. Obviously, they went for that, and I think it's a great story on its own. Besides of that, but that leaves a great memory of this was the last time Hugh Jackman did this, and it's fantastic. I would hope that would be the same thing for Black Widow, and I hope this lawsuit doesn't hang shade, or bring shade to her last outing, because that would be a really darn shame. So that's my take on that. I'll keep you guys updated on how it goes out. Funny enough, I wrote down all my notes, and I thought when I gave my Black Widow review, that would be the last time I would bring this up. And I thought, funny enough, here we are, and I'm still talking about it. So moving on. apparently they're moving forward with the Batgirl movie, and they're looking. They've cast their Batgirl. Her name's Leslie, and I can't remember her last name to save the life of me. And apparently Leslie, shit. Anyway, they've cast that Batgirl, and the funny thing, when I saw the news, when I was reading the news, I saw who got cast, and I don't really know her. But then it was like, oh, we're going to try and get J.K. Simmons. They're going to try and get J.K. Simmons to come back. And I thought, yes, hell yes, get him back as Commissioner Gordon. I'm all in for that. Yes, he had a very small role in the Justice League movie, but anything J.K. Simmons in it is fantastic. Just go watch Invincible or go watch the first 3 Spider-Man movies. He's fantastic. Lots of energy. But yes, apparently that's moving forward. I'm not too sure how this is going to work. Apparently it's going to be for the DCEU. It's going to be a HBO Max movie. That's one thing that's going to be in it. And apparently with a release date or schedule for 2022. That's when they're looking to release that. So the hard thing with the DCEU right now is the fact that we don't know where kind of like everything stands. Like, as in how much continuation they're going to do. Like, J.K. Simmons can come back as Commissioner Gordon, but who's Batman? Is it? It's meant to be obviously be Ben Affleck, but is he going to come back? Is he going to do a cameo? Like, where does that stand with all that? It makes it a lot harder to. And obviously next year we get the 3 Batman, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, and the OG Michael Keaton next year. So, could be any of them that plays the Batman in that. So, it should be interesting. I'm all up for a Batgirl movie. Oh, look, I can't say it'd be when are they going to make a Batgirl movie? Like, I'm not so much about that. I'm more interested in the fact that, which I would think would just be bloody outstanding, or I would lose my shit if this happened, if Batgirl, right, they release that movie and that leads straight into The Killing Joke. And they do a real adaptation of that, and Ben Affleck plays Batman. I'd be out for it, or get Jared Leto back as a Joker. I would love to see a rated R Killing Joke movie. Spoiler alert: Batgirl is in it, but she takes an unfortunate fall through a glass table as Joker shoots her through the spine, which creates a series of events that is just, you can't put a PG rating on it. You can't go, you gotta go MA or R. Like, The Killing Joke is a fantastic comic book. It's regarded as like the OG story on the Joker. Of how he became the Joker. It's by Alan Moore. It's fantastic. Anyone who is looking for comics to pick up, to go read, my first 2 suggestions where I tell anyone is The Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke. Those are my first 2 recommendations when people ask me what comic books to read. And it's fantastic. It's a really dark, twisted story, but it makes you feel for Batman. It makes you feel for the Joker. J.K. Simmons would be in it as Commissioner Gordon, and if you ever want to see J.K. Simmons in Bear, that's probably the only time you're going to see that. But it's fantastic. Go. I recommend go reading the comic book. Also watch the anime and movie, because that's got It's got Kevin Conroy as Batman, my favorite Batman, and no one could ever replace him. He does all the voice work for Batman from the animated series majority of the time. He's fantastic. And Mark Hamill as the Joker. It's great. There's a great monologue scene in it as well from the Joker does to Batman. And yeah, it's really good. I recommend go checking that. And I'd be over the moon if the fact that Batgirl movie leads straight into the Killing Joke. Lose my fucking shit. But there's no plot details for Batgirl at the moment or where it's going to sit, so we'll just have to find that out. Moving along, Hawkeye TV series moving from DC to Marvel. Hawkeye gets its release date on the 24th of November this year. So if we add that into the giant timeline that we're seeing from the MCU for the rest of the year, we have August the 11th, we get What If series, September, I want to say 9th or 10th, I could be wrong, for Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. They dropped a new trailer this week. Look, the trailer adds more backstory, what's going on, some cool stunt scenes. As I said, my money's already down. I don't need to see anymore. Like, I'm going to go see it in a heartbeat. So that in September, and then we're going to get in November. November and December is going to be a big month because you got Eternals, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and then Hawkeye TV series. Which, as I'm recording this, it's really shamey, but we have not seen a Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. That's probably the greedy MCU guy in me. But no, we still haven't seen a trailer for that yet, and I can't wait for when that drops. But knowing Sony or Marvel, they'll do exactly what they did with Endgame, and they'll show you like 5 scenes, add nothing to the entire plot of the movie except what you already know. And I bet you they won't do it. It's 50-50 if they all actually, is Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire actually in it, is all up in the air. We have no concrete confirmation they're actually in it. So, here's me wishing. But yeah, the Hawkeye TV series got a release date, and look, I'll be watching it. I can't wait. And also, what's actually made me a little bit more excited for this movie is the fact that Black Widow's sister's going to be in it, and most likely going to be hunting him and his daughter down. So I'm up for that. She was fantastic in Black Widow, and I can't wait to see that, especially if she's going to be in it chasing them down. So that goes to release date. That's about the timeline for the MCU. Moving back to DC, next week, the new Suicide Squad movie releases in Australia, and I'm going to go with Dean and Mark and their two partners to go see it. Look, from everything I've seen in reviews wise, people are like raving about this, saying how fantastic it is. Obviously, it's going to be fantastic from the start because James Gunn is directing it and wrote it, which apparently he got absolutely free reign. Which, it's quite surprising for Warner Brothers. Justice League. Original Suicide Squad. Apparently it's getting rave reviews. I saw someone compare it, saying it's the best superhero movie since The Dark Knight. Big call. And I will tell you guys whether or not I think that's true. Because, Dark Knight is... that's got a bar of its own. That's the level it's at. But yeah, apparently that's coming out next week. So really pumped for that. Apparently all the reviews are great. And look, I really hope it's good. Like, I want the DCU I want it to succeed in its best possible fashion. I don't want it to be rivals of the MCU. I just want, this interconnected universe, same as the DCU, punching out and hitting for the fences. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I just feel like, you know, we've seen a Superman story by himself. We've seen a Batman story by himself. You know, we want to see these characters interact with each other that we've always dreamed of, or we've seen in cartoons or comics. Like, that's what we want to see. You know, I'd be up to see another. This is very strange saying this. Batman v Superman movie. Not them fighting each other, but like something as simple as the world's finest. Them actually working together. You know, I'm totally up for that. Actually, before that, we need Man of Steel too. Like fucking God, like hurry up. But yeah, I want them to succeed. And what is up and coming, as what we're going to work on, is an episode that we're working on at the moment. Is that me, Dean, and Mark, and hopefully Perry. We're actually going to sit down. I've got an episode working on right now with them. Is that we're going to do a breakdown of the DCU, the highs, the lows, and the miserable having your dreams dashed. We're going to do an episode like that, and that's up and coming. So I'll obviously make sure to stay subscribed for notifications for when we release that, where we're going to discuss the DCU from the very beginning to where it is at very now, and what we're looking forward to. So yeah, please stay tuned. It's going to be a great episode. I can't wait. So small reflection here is, I really hope the new Suicide Squad movie is as good as everyone says, because the first one, you know, it got released in 2016, and I remember thinking, you know, the fact they've got Will Smith, they've got Margot Robbie, you know, the Jared Leto as a Joker. I remember going into that movie with so much hope. You know, so much hope and so much ambition. You know, I can't wait. You know, I can't wait to see what this is. You know, I can't. You know, they're going. You know, the fact we got Man of Steel, we got Batman v Superman. Look, that was a bit, you know, hit or miss what they're going for it. Didn't like it. As soon as I walked out, I was like, that was just weird and ugh. And you know, when the Suicide Squad movie was coming, I was like, all right, different aspect. Let's go into this, and it just, I think that's when you saw the massive crack. I feel like that's when you really, you know, when you watched it, when you finished, you're like, all right, something's not, the DCUs and something's not right. Like, that cemented the fact that there's a giant crack in it. It just wasn't. And I'm not saying I didn't have. No, not saying I had high expectations. Like, don't get me wrong. I did go in with expectations for the DCU as the same thing as the MCU, because I thought, you know, obviously, you know, Zack Snyder's there. He's gonna, you know, this is gonna be well constructed. You know, they've seen the platform that the MCU has created. So obviously, there must be a few people that, like, you know, we're like, no, we need to outperform them. We need to be the premium superhero movie content, and we're going to do it with our characters. Because the funny thing is, if you look, all right, scrap everything. You look at both the MCU and the DCU. At the very start, if you had money and someone tells you, look, the DCU is getting created, the MCU is created. The MCU is being started with an Iron Man. Oh, to most people, who's Iron Man? DCU is going with Superman. Like, who would you have put your money on? I've got, you know, longevity. If someone said, you know, these are the two movies, you know, the two movies getting created, and then boom, they're off, they're going, and it's going to be a whole internet connecting movies. Which one would you think would succeed more? You know, I'm not going to lie. I would have put my money on the DCU first, without a shadow of a doubt. And then again, if we look at the movies that came after. After Iron Man, you got the Incredible Hulk, and with the DCU, you got Batman v Superman. Still, I would have put my money on DCU to go better than Marvel. Especially at that time, because obviously Spider-Man was still with Sony and X-Men was still with Fox. And, for a Hulk movie, we got the first Hulk movie, and that was interesting. That first Hulk movie is, I think Eric Banner was a great Bruce Banner, but the rest of it, it was that era of time. It was that era of movie between Spider-Man, X-Men, Incredible Hulk, Daredevil. It was just that time of film. And if you're a fan, you know exactly what I mean. But you'd think that the DCU outperformed, outshined the Marvel 100% at that time. So it was just shocking, the fact that you saw these massive cracks. You saw these massive cracks, and the Suicide Squad movie just didn't. The trailers looked like Jared Leto was going to be through the whole movie, yet he was only in it for a bit. And then you could see the different trailers, and it was different tone of the trailers. So that seemed a bit weird going in, and and as well as Jared Leto was short of it, and then they were going after the Enchantress, which to me that didn't make much sense either, because I'm like, she's magical, yet you send a whole team of people that are not magical to go find a magical being. Like, wouldn't it be more sense? Like, go watch. I recommend is go watch a better version of what the Suicide Squad movie should have been. Is Batman Assault on Arkham. It's an animated movie. It's based inside the Arkhamverse, and it's Suicide Squad movie is trying to break out the Riddler, and then the Joker gets free, and obviously it creates chaos. But that's a great Suicide Squad movie. It's more grounded. It's more, it's great. It's a really good. It's really good, and it's got all those similar characters in it. And I think that's also a much better Suicide Squad movie than the first one, because you could just tell that the first movie was chopped and cut, and things just didn't seem right, and it just. Like, it was just, and I feel bad for the director, because, when these movies come out, they'll go, well, why'd you shoot that? Why'd you create that? That was kind of shit. And then you go to them and go, well, actually, I actually created this. Warner Brothers actually butchered my creation and wanted to do this because they thought that was better. And you could tell that Warner Brothers stepped in, and it wasn't as good as it should have been. And, after you left the movie, probably the biggest highlight is Will Smith was great as Deadshot. I would have loved to see more from, I would have loved to see him pop up again. Obviously, Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. I'd put her and as Harley Quinn up there in the echelon as great casting choices characters. Same with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, Chris Evans as Captain America. I put her up there. So there was highlights in that movie, yet as overall whole, like it missed the mark, and it was the third film in the DCU. So it just, and the funny thing is, in saying that, that left that taste in your mouth, yet the very next movie was Wonder Woman, and that was bloody fantastic. That was a great movie. That was a great origin movie. Obviously, there was bits and pieces where you thought, all right, this is just a female Captain America, World War II. She helped at the war. There's a guy named Steve, But, if you go back and watch that movie, the whole scene with her going through the battlefield, that's fantastic. That's a great scene of her doing that. So, and then they gave you hope again. And you're like, woo, great, let's keep going. And then we got Justice League, and all hope was just shattered. Like, Jesus Christ. And then obviously you had the rumblings, the fact that we're getting the Flash movie kind of went in development hell, and look, it all followed. I digress. That's going to be for another episode. But yeah, the first Suicide Squad movie kind of did not hit that mark for me. So I'm kind of glad that both the guy who played Rick Flag and Captain Boomerang and Amanda Waller and Margot Robbie, I'm glad they're all coming back. So they get another crack at it. Obviously, Margot Robbie's like she'll do fantastic. Like, there's no it's gonna be really hard the day they recast her, because I feel like she's one of those characters it doesn't look right without Margot Robbie. So it's just gonna be so those characters coming back, so which is fantastic. They're gonna get a crack. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it, and I'm stoked for it. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate the DCU. I just feel like my hope is just constantly crushed, or my ambition for it is constantly crushed when you look at it and go, come on. An argument can be made that people know your characters more than Marvel, yet Marvel are wiping their asses with your films. It was very smart of Warner Bros. to pick up James Gunn when he got fired in those few months to create this film. It was a lightning in a bottle. But the funny thing is, they needed a Marvel guy to make a solid movie in their DCU. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? So that's up and coming for my movie review. I can't wait to talk about it, and I can't wait to bring out this episode that me and Dean and Mark and Perry are working on, which will be fantastic. And it's all going about the DCU, rise, fall, and WTF Warner Brothers. Moving on, not comic book related, not Marvel, not DC, Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. They dropped a new trailer for their movie Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I just, it was a really good trailer. It showed a bit more background of the town. It showed you a little bit more background of the house, of where they're staying at, and a bit more of the ghosts. And obviously, the car in action looks great. The visuals look great. And I Echo One, that was the car's name, idiot. I can't wait for this. It looks really good, and I love Ghostbusters. Those first two movies are fantastic. I feel like for anyone who hasn't seen Ghostbusters, you're being robbed. It's just a fun, goofy movie with one of the best themes ever made? ? Or most catchy, and it was just it's just a lot of fun movie. The video game, which is currently on the PlayStation Store and Xbox Store, I think you should go. That was so much fun. When that first came out, I think in 2009, that video game, all the original actors came back, and it was so much fun. You put in your proton pack, and you're hunting ghosts. You get to wrap them down, and it's actually a really good game, and it's actually a lot of fun. So when that got remastered and came out on PlayStation 4 and 5, I was like, take my fucking money. Take it. But yeah, I'm really excited for the new Ghostbusters movie. This is an argument I'm going to make for another day. This is an argument I'm going to make for another day. I didn't like the female Ghostbusters movie. I haven't watched it in its entirety. I've seen bits and pieces, and when it got first announced and the trailer, it didn't grab me. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for women empowerment, women movies. Come on, Black Widow and Wonder Woman and not the female and not the I can't remember what that movie was. But no, those movies and I can't remember the email, the Astro. Oh, it's got Charlize Theron on it, and she basically plays Black Widow, and that's a fantastic movie. Atomic Blonde, bingo, that's it. They're all great films, but just I think what was against that movie from the start is that so many people were like itching for a proper third sequel of Ghostbusters, so they wanted the original crew to come back, and I think it didn't help the fact that that the movie was also it was actually shit. Like, it wasn't actually a good movie. Like, it apparently had some good parts in it, but overall it wasn't. If you take away everything, it wasn't a good movie. Solid. Which then gets this argument where people always say is like, oh, men don't want to see women in action movies, or as women in action movies. I'm like, that's not true. You make a fucking good movie, and we'll go watch it. If you make a trash movie, it's just trash at the end of the day, not because of who the lead is. It works either way. If you make a trash movie, it's a trash movie. There's nothing, there's nothing sexist about it. But I think the majority of it was the fact that everyone was waiting for the real 3, which sadly enough we won't get because of the fact that Hal Ramis did pass away, so we won't actually get that thing. But I feel really like this new one, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Like, this looks like what this is what this kind of sequel we would have gotten. It looks really cool. It's getting directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of the original director and writer of the first 2 Ghostbusters movie. So it's. And which he's even said in his interviews, like, this is a love letter, this was really close to his heart. And, when that type of passion comes through, you see it. You see it a lot more. And it's fantastic that he's come back. Apparently, majority of the cast are coming back for bits and pieces. So I don't know what capacity we'll see him in, but, I'm all up for it. And, I hope it's going to be really good. That's coming out this year. That got delayed also. But I hope that, it's going to feel very nostalgia and very new. And it's going to be really... I think one really thing that's going to be really cool is that... Not saying that the special effects hasn't really held up, but it'd be nice to see new special effects. And to see who the new villain is. Is it a new villain, or is it an old villain that's coming back? Why is Egon... why did he buy this house in the middle of buttfuck nowhere? And, why is there earthquakes every day? And it's got Paul Rudd in it. More Paul Rudd, the better. So, that's, the new trailer came out for that. So, I'm really pumped for that. That's another movie review I'm 100% going to give. And it's going to be... And, I just hope it's going to be really good. Go check it out. Ghostbusters Afterlife. So, they're not saying 2, not saying 3... And I hope they never make a sequel to the female Ghostbusters. Right now, I'm saying that. But that should be really good. Can't wait. So moving on to video game news. What's really cool is that Sony has released a press release that they're working out on a beta for a framework update. Expanding on like notifications, how you work on organizations between your PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games. But the main thing, which I think is for every person who's got the PlayStation 5, is how can I expand the space of it? Because let's be honest, like in this day and age, anything below a terabyte is piss poor. Like, you need a terabyte or higher. Especially high. Yes, go higher. Because these games are getting bigger, so we need more motherfucking space. We need more space. And, it's that's the biggest question since this got released. It boggled me when both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox released and the fact that Xbox got a terabyte. Why don't we get a terabyte? Why do we get gigs? Like, what is this, a poor man's group? Like, anything you buy, get, a gaming computer, I want 10 terabyte. I need, you can get it, if you need the room. So apparently they've explained the fact that with this update, you'll be able to swap over the SSD card to expand your space. The catch on it is the fact that, which, depending on how people feel, is that you have to crack open your PlayStation 5 to change it over. And not only that, is the fact that you have to buy a very, very particular one, for it to work. So you can't just buy one off the shelf. So obviously, everyone who sells SD cards that will work in this particular one is going to milk the living shit out of it and raise those prices right up, which any smart businessman would do, or any shop would do, if you heard this news. So it's kind of, look, it's, it depends on how much you want to go. Like, do you just want to get an external hard drive and do it that way, or do you take the initiative and pay that little bit extra and whack in this expensive SSD card and crack open your PlayStation 5 to do that? What's more, you gotta weigh up your options. For me, look, I would probably, I don't know how I would do it. I probably would crack open my PS5 to switch over, so the fact that I don't have to plug something else into it, so you haven't got a cord hanging off because you just want to keep it sleek. That part, cracking open to do it, I don't mind that. It's probably just making sure to try and buy the correct one, and depending how much they're going to be. Which I've already seen ads, the fact that, places that do sell them already saying, like, PlayStation 5 SSD card for more space. Already started selling that. So, it depends how you want to take it. Like, one thing I would recommend is obviously don't go buy it right now. Wait until the beta's done. You get, when it's all up and going. And probably just wait a little bit longer and see how people go in replacing these manually, and see if any issues come up. That's probably my recommendation of what to do. I think it's one of those annoying things with the consoles. The fact that you want the best console straight away, so you buy it straight away, and then obviously within a few years they make a new one with more space. And you're like, well, do I trade in or do you get a new one? I've never actually traded in a console. I've always kept it. Nostalgia feelings. And I've barely ever got the upgrade one. I think the only time I've ever actually bought a console and I bought the upgrade version was the Xbox 360. Because obviously the Wi-Fi, you didn't have to buy an external Wi-Fi. They made sure that goes in. It was a sleeker design and more space. So I was like, I'm going to get this. Because it doesn't look as bulky or as heavy or as crap, because you have to have the Wi-Fi kit installed on the back. Yeah, it was just bad. But I think it's very cool. I think it's something that Sony definitely needs to do, because it's not enough space for these games. Like, look at Call of Duty. Like, if you have Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and Cold War installed with all the updates, that's your entire hard drive burnt out, like totally filled. Like, holy shit! Like, I was saying this to a mate the other day. I'm like, with all these updates, where are all these updates going? Like, where's all this gig going into? I haven't got Cold War, and I've actually deleted Call of Duty off my PlayStation 5 because I'm like, I haven't got the fucking room for it. And I'd rather have Red Dead Redemption installed, Red Dead Redemption 2 installed, than have Call of Duty. Because at least I know, like, yep, that's Red Dead Redemption, that's how much space you need. That's all you need. Not like Call of Duty. But those diehard fans are going to need more space. So it'd be interesting. It's a similar thing with what you got to do with PC. So it's very interesting about that. One other cool thing is the fact I didn't actually see this until a couple of days later. Is the fact that Sony has acquired a company called NIXX. Saw this on news on a channel, as well as I read it as well. Apparently, they've actually acquired this company, which this company specializes in PC and porting to PC from games. So it's going to be interesting the fact that if they've acquired that, like, are they looking? Obviously, they're looking to port more of their PlayStation 5 exclusives to PC, or more of the PlayStation 5 games. So if they do that, in argument's sake, if it goes well, does that also make Steam Deck more of a, one-stop shop, that you can get all the games on Steam and you can get all the PlayStation 5 exclusives? So, where does that lead both PlayStation 5 and Steam Deck? How's that going to sit? So that's going to be very interesting to see how that all goes. But yeah, that's a really cool thing about Sony, is the fact they're going to, with this firmware update, is the fact you can finally update the space. Thank fuck. But yeah, give it a few more. I say wait and see how people go with it. See how sales go on the parts, and obviously with it being beta, wait until that's all done. So that's going to be really cool. See how that goes. And in other news, it's another that's kind of not shocking, but like kind of big news that's skyrocketing is Activision and Blizzard. Like, that's holy shit. Like, that's just blown out. Tensions are rising high. Employees are, they're marching out the front. They're holding up their signs. They're in mobs or rallies, however else you want to put it, over discrimination and sexual harassment claims. How the environment they've created. So it's I go check that out. Like, it's coming to a really massive thing, and there shouldn't be in any workplace. There should be no sexual harassment. There should be no discrimination. Period. Or any of that macho environment either. So, but the fact is, it's happening to a very big company like Activision Blizzard. Obviously, if employees walk out and aren't working, what does that mean for all the projects they're working on? What does that mean for everything that Blizzard are working on? Like shit. So that's that's probably another thing in the past week that's been the really big news, is the fact that with Activision and Blizzard. And look, I think it's it's funny, actually. It's not really funny, but like, Activision has been in the news a lot this year, with obviously Activision and Blizzard, and Activision and Sledgehammer Games, like the new Call of Duty, which is apparently rumored to be a giant pile of shit. Because apparently the rumors are going around is the fact that they're still, is that apparently the studio that's working on the new Call of Duty, they've said that look, it's it's not ready because we haven't as much time to work on it because of the pandemic. It's not ready to go. We can't meet that yearly Call of Duty expectation. And Activision being, no, we have to release it. We have to meet our quota. That's who we are. And obviously, it could be, a giant pile of shit. Which, this is the same thing with my argument before. The fact that people need to understand that in this pandemic era, nothing is normal. You can't expect anything's going to work out as normal as it is. Like, your normal everyday life, your normal plans, your normal business plans. Like, people and companies need to adjust for this until everything simmers down and gets to what life was, or what it's meant to be. Because I don't know, like, you can't, Activision, you can't release Call of Duty this year. Yep, okay, all right. Make some more maps, or make some more weapons for both, Cold War and Warzone. Work on that. Give the developers another year to work on the Call of Duty, and you reduce that stress, and you give more time to perfect something that's truly, fantastic. Give them that leeway. So it's just, and what's really the point of releasing a half-baked game? Cyberpunk. Look what happened to that. People were dying to get refunds. It was taken off the PlayStation 5 store. It's finally back on there now. But, that's hurt their reputation as a company, which they have to rebuild. They have to rebuild that trust. So next time they release a big game, they're all, everyone's going in the frame of mindset is the fact that, is this half-baked? How many updates are we going to get when it's released to fix all the problems, because they haven't worked on it so long? They're doing, they've got a long haul to rebuild that trust in gamers. So, if you're going to walk down that path, Activision, what's the point? Like, what, honestly, yeah, sure, you're going to sell it, make some money, but at the cost of your reputation, especially right now when you're having this problem with Blizzard, it's not looking good. It's not looking good, and, it's, obviously this is the biggest talking point of the gaming community at the stage, between this and PlayStation 5 and the Steam Deck. I really hope Activision, step away and go, all right, let's push the Call of Duty out, because we don't need one. We don't need another Call of Duty, because right now Warzone is still the hottest topic right now in people playing it. It's still the hottest thing. It's right up there with Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. Between that and Apex, like you're still getting the numbering, you're still getting the revenue. Like, you have to have some contingency plans for the pandemic era. It's the only way you can survive, or build towards something better, or create that space. So bottom line, it's not looking good for Activision at the moment. If how everything's going with Blizzard and how the new Call of Duty is. So that's my video game news for the week, and I would like to say to everyone, thank you very much for tuning in, and always, always posting on Instagram. Please go check that out. Let me know if you want any merch. Let me know about that, and until next time, guys.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.